Snapstone plus 4 sips. That makes the most sense. All right. Aftermath picked by Eis3n, and Akure picked by Gryph0n. Now we get the bands, Sunburn and Runestones. I want to see what Sunburn is. I've never seen Sunburn. Immersion and Shoal. So a lot of water play. Two water maps and a potential water map with Akure. Usually not much, but that is a viable strategy. Hyper Random and Outcrop are both banned, and the random pick is Fez. All right, so we're starting on Fez. Let's take a look at the casts, or the bands. So, admin bands, we get the Shu. Good, I don't need to know about them. Khitans, don't know about them. Sicilians, I heard, are very strong. Slavs are always insanely strong. Goths and Malay, I feel like are just like cheese civs. And Lithuanians are strong. Georgians, yeah. Georgians also strong. Gotcha. Okay. So a couple strong civs and a couple, I think, weak civs. Like, I think Goths and Malay, and I think Shu are weak, but we'll see we'll see the bands. So Huns, Mongols. Shu is weak, yeah. Huns, Mongols, like I said earlier, Huns, Franks for the newer players. Mongols is right there. So those, I don't feel will ever be bad DM civs. Hey, there you go. The 3 most beginner-friendly civs, at least back 3 years ago. Saracens, interesting. No market abuse strategies then. Spanish, always solid. Celts, I've heard, are insanely strong because SOs. Magyars, always good. And Chinese. These bans all make sense, and I think would have been reasonable bans 3.5 years ago as well. So we get the 2 blind picks, and Bengalis, Berbers, and Bohemians. Very interesting. People like the Bengalis. And Bohemians. I mean, Bohemians are just solid all the way around, right? Tatars for Eis3n, and Gryph0n picked the Koreans. Now, I know Koreans are better because they have the SO with minimum range, if I remember correctly. Right? Or did they change it? I think they changed something about that. Villagers plus 3 line of sight. Rocket carts now. They did change that. Okay. And Fire Lancers. Let me just read what the fuck Fire Lancers are. Because I remember I kept seeing them. I never looked what they are. I think they said single ranged gunpowder shotgun that fires a short range firearm before engaging in melee combat. Strong versus cavalry and buildings. Weak versus militia line and archery. So they're just lancers with a strong start attack and then not as strong after. Is that kind of their vibe? And they have strong watchtowers, but towers are banned from what I understand. So, Persians, Turks, both of those make sense. A lot of gunpowder units on Eis3n side. Jurchens. If we pick Jurchens, I'm going to have to learn about them. Bulgarians, Malians, Vietnamese, Britons, and Wei. Oh boy. All right, Jurchens and Wei. I just want to read what they are. Jurchens, cavalry and gunpowder, meat of hunted. Oh, right. They have the livestock farms. Like, don't they do, like, farms or, like, pastures or something silly? I don't know what pastures do. We'll find out. Pastures and Khitans. Okay. Oh, it doesn't decay. That's just a bonus, so more food stays in it. It doesn't do something special. Okay, yeah. Which is probably very strong in RM. Mountain units and fire lamps attack faster. Siege engineers. Yep. Iron pagoda. Fortified bastions. Fortifications regenerate 500 HP per minute. That sounds really strong. Thunderclap bombs. Detonate when defeated. I don't like that. That's interesting. That sounds like in StarCraft 2 with Banelings. Jurchens is very strong. Yeah, so let's take a look at Fast Iron. I want to see their special units, which is here. Iron Pagoda. Unique heavy cav with durable armor that completely block melee attacks. Oh. Interesting. Cool. And then the other is Grenadier, which is a gunpowder unit, I believe, from range then? There it is. Attrition with a ranged blast attack, but it cannot attack close range. Okay, I assume it's just they throw grenades. I assume it is just this guy. Dynamite. I assume this is that, right? This is what those guys do. If I had to guess. Yeah. And then what was the other one? Something Shu? Was it? No, Shu or Wei is what we chose. Wei. Receive 1 free villager for economy upgrade. Sounds strong. I don't know if that counts in DM. Luchans. I remember seeing Luchans. I think those are Chinese ships, just in general, right? Chunjin soldiers passively produce food. That's interesting. This seems like such a weird civ. No arbalests, 200 swordsmen, halberdier, hussar, Guang cavalry, all-purpose heavy cav archers. They're just different heavy cav archers. Okay. Siege traction trebuchet, anti-building siege weapon with long range but cannot attack enemies at close range. Oh, it moves. It's not the set it up and regular trebuchet. Gotcha. And then special unit Tiger Cavalry. Gains HP and attack when defeating enemy military, exceptionally strong versus ranged soldiers. Cool. And don't they have a champion or something? I don't know how that works. But whatever. Anyways. Okay. So, first map. 1 second. Let's actually get into the game. Let me just figure it out. We can just check from this. Thank you for the follow, Turfucks. All right, so first map is going to be on Fez. Any predictions for who they pick? Fez seems, even though there's water, not very water-based. Oh, bans. You're right. I keep forgetting about the bans. Thank you, bad streamer. Jerchins. So I didn't even need to learn about the Jerchins. It's going all right. We're doing some casting for Team Deathmatch and or from Deathmatch tournaments, and we're doing the second cast of the day between Gryph0n and Eis3n, so Division 5. So going to be some pretty solid gameplay, I'm expecting. And Bengalis. So no mirror match. And Jerchins. So I still need to know about Wei, but at least I don't need to know about Jerchins. So on Fez, seems like a very standard, not standard, but another Arabia map. I mean, I have no idea. I feel like the first map is always going to be kind of a comfort pick. So if there's no guesses, I'll just jump right into it. And we can get started. Fez long map, that's fair. So probably a bit more big armies. You didn't need to worry about as much of a early rush then, right? Bengali versus Persians is what you're guessing? I can see that. Those both sound like pretty solid ground maps. There's a lot of water maps. So that's the other thing is we do need to remember 1, 2, 2.5 kind of water maps, right? So if we wanted to kind of do the inverse, Turks probably save for immersion. Bengalis, I think, are decent naval. Malians, decent naval. Koreans, decent naval. So could be interesting there. All right, let's swap over. And there. And Fez is more like outcrop. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so let's get underway. Thank you for the follow, Path. All right, so welcome to Division 8. Is it Division 8? Hold on. Did I mix? I thought I changed that. It's Division 8 or 5? No, it's 8. Okay, not Division 5. Why am I thinking Division 5? Division 8. Okay, I do have that right. Okay, I did change that. All right. In the orange, playing the Persians, we have our fan favorite, Gryph0n. By fan favorite, he's been in the chat the longest right now. playing the Persians, and in the blue, his opponent is Eis3n playing the Bengalis. So it looks like Turfax was correct. What have you stumbled upon? Welcome, Smite. Doing a little bit of team deathmatch. We got Gryph0n trying to get an early rush. Villagers being avoided. Has found a villager. Might get a snipe. Villager does escape. In the meantime, on the other side, the scout for Eis3n has decided to not even engage with any villagers and just is on the side as Eis3n focuses on dealing with that engagement. And luckily, Eis3n deals well with the scout and no kills there. And we see Halberdiers starting to come forward just to kind of get a little scout. And we have elephants coming out of Eis3n. Thank you for the follow, Smite. We are watching Division 8 of the Tarnished Deathmatch League. And it is Gryph0n versus Eis3n, and I'm excited for this one. So we got some more Halberdiers. So it's going to be Halberdier Elephants versus Gryph0n with adding some Scorps now. Halberdier, Scorps, Gunpowder Castle is going to try to prevent this. Does get one kill. So nice little Eco KD sniped there from Eis3n. Gryph0n does go down a villager, which could be a long-term slight weakness. But shouldn't be too big of a deal, depending if the start goes fast enough and the eco gets going. But elite war elephants coming in for the Persians. A lot of HP on those chonkers. And I think they're going to match up very good if it's just Halberdier versus elephants. Halberdier and elephants versus Halberdier and elephants. I think Gryph0n will come out on top with having the better elephants if he can mass them up. But adding some scorpions in with the Persians. Thank you for the follow, Eis3n. And yeah, we're going to be seeing a little bit of dance in the middle, trying to scope each other out. I was in a rush here. That's fair. Got some expansions on the sides as well. Both civs going for the expansions to get some eco. And we actually see docks being strategized from Gryph0n. There are fish. No, just some heavy demos. Throwing some demos down, trying to catch some units going across. And expansion on the right side. And this might actually pay off. Might snipe a few elephants. At least get a scout and see if anything's going on the side. But Gryph0n going to push forward with some war elephants and some halberdiers. And we still haven't seen, I mean, okay, so we have the answer, which is going to be heavy scorpions from the Bengali player with, is that just a regular onager? Yeah, just regular onagers mixed in. And there's some Rothas, if I remember correctly, from a little bit of CBA, I think it is. Rothas, not very efficient, but maybe they're better in DM. Demo going to land and not go and do anything, but a lot of dock investment. I don't know if the dock investment is really worth it on this map, but I mean, going to try to cut off any eco expansion there, but that is an expensive cost. Gryph0n finds himself a little bit pop capped at the moment and falls behind in the population. I think some of the best fights have been taken by Eis3n, just because Gryph0n's one going forward with the units and not having all of them, whereas this massive death ball of military from Eis3n is here to just kind of eat the stray units of Gryph0n as they go a little bit too far forward. Getting famous? Thank you. Oh no, Gryph0n's getting famous, yeah. And so yeah, we see some expansions here. Elephants kind of scouting, protecting the middle gold. And Eis3n making a little bit better of an establishment on the left side, I think. But a faster expansion on the left side by Gryph0n. And the skirmish in the middle is starting to really come up. The castle goes up, meaning if they're fighting under the castle, that's going to be a huge advantage for Eis3n with the military. But Gryph0n falling back a little bit, getting that middle castle set up himself. And yeah, those elephants are going to get chewed up by some scorpions here. And now there's the elephant archers. Those are going to be pretty dicey. That's a lot of HP on both sides. Just elephant wars. And we actually even see some siege rams coming in to try to deal with all the archers. War elephants are going to have tanks. Nothing's really dealing with these elephant archers. Yeah, they're going to lose some villagers. So Gryph0n's castle does get denied. Unfortunately, not sending villagers there, not protecting the villagers, not running them back. So that castle doesn't go up, and he kind of needs that reinforcements there. War elephants trying to engage on these front lines, but scorpions backing up and some onager shots coming in. Might not be a thing. And we actually see monk play from Eis3n. Eis3n coming in with some monks, going to get some conversions on the elite, on the war elephants. That's going to be a lot of HP swing. That's like, each one is going to be a 600 HP or 1200 HP swing for a massive thing. So some monk play, and also with just the healing from these monks, could be a huge benefit for Eis3n really turning the fight. We actually see some forward siege workshops on the side. The expansion on the right side has gone forward. No more dock play from Gryph0n. A little bit of a waste of resources, but may have gotten some stuff out there. Left side, War Elephants going forward to try to push some of these expansions. We have a lot of action. Now the War Elephants really starting to mass up here and get forward. And this, I don't know if right now Eis3n has enough to hold against this. 116 military versus 60 of Eis3n's. And the castle goes up. Treb's starting to come out. Monk's trying to get some conversions. We'll see how the Monk micro is. That's a looks like some pretty good micro, getting some range, getting some different ones here and there. We'll see if any of them actually land. Oh, wait, no, you don't get conversions in DM because it's, it just kills them, right? So it'd just be a one-shot, which, I mean, is good against War Elephants. That's a lot of HP, but loses his forward castle, and Eis3n's going to be forced back. Not having any military to defend. A bunch of military is tied up in monks and trebuchets. And we actually have some elephant raids in the back. Gryph0n really starting to expand some farm eco on the left side with only one castle defending. Maybe TC's forward. Don't know why the TCs stopped. Probably looks like a little raid came in and killed them. Needs to finish that, but the elephant's trying to get some kills here, gets some few kills, and continues to push in the middle. A little bit of dock play. Snipes the monks who are going for the relics. So, yeah, the war elephants starting to push forward with their massive HP. Gryph0n is out of gold, really needs to expand the gold eco. Has villagers coming over to try to expand that again to try to get more elephants, but these are all the elephants he's going to have for quite some time. So he needs to make this push count. The Trebs and the bomber cannons are coming forward, but only a few of them are kind of standing pat. But those elephants alone can do a lot of damage, and there's only one castle firing bullets in. There's not any military from Eis3n. I think Gryph0n's going to be able to push forward. And no, both don't have the tech. Okay, so yeah, I suppose Persians with that tech would be kind of silly because you're supposed to be able to prevent, like, that's the whole danger of having war elephants is that they are going to get converted and used against you. But yeah, once these elephants take out this castle, there's really nothing protecting the middle. And Eis3n's going to get pushed to the side, but if he starts trickling in these halberdiers, they're not going to be able to do much against war elephants. Halberdiers might defeat war elephants in the long run, but 1 against 30 is not going to get the damage you need. Some good Treb micro over here from the hidden Trebs of Eis3n hiding behind the tree. But these bomber cannons scope them out, they expose their position, and they're trying to run, but that's going to be a couple dead Trebs. And I think Gryph0n just continues to push his advantage here and will win. Only one. Oh, all 5 relics are in play for Eis3n. So, very smart. Won the moral victory, but the elephants have won the war. GG. In general, elephant civs don't have this tech, except like, yeah. No, that is a, I haven't played the game for 3 years, and totally forgot that that's how the game works, because that would be incredibly unbalanced. So, give me, I mean, yeah, that's just a really good game by Gryph0n. I think, really managed to push forward a little bit messy in the middle, losing some units early on, and Eis3n didn't really capitalize, and then managed to mass up the death ball of war elephants, and Eis3n took a few bad fights and just wasn't able to hold against them. So well played by Gryph0n. And while Eis3n might have been pretty well set for the long game with the relic control and having expanded a little bit faster than Eis3n or than Gryph0n, I think Gryph0n played to his outs and was a stat, like, did what he needed to early on. I think the docks, like Gryph0n said, probably not the most efficient play, but, you know, maybe sniped a few things here and there, and was definitely an interesting play. So, GG's from Gryph0n. He takes the first game. Give me 1 second to set up the next game. All right, welcome back. We'll go into game 2 first. We had to deal with it was Persians beating the Bengalis, right? Yes. Vivar, no, I will not. I only came back to the game literally this past Saturday after 3 years absence, so I missed the signups and stuff. Additionally, I just playing this game itself is not the healthiest thing for me. Maybe I'll get back into it, but I am much more enjoying casting than I ever do playing. I'm just not. There's a lot of history with me playing this game, and I just don't enjoy playing it as much as I enjoy casting. So maybe I'll play the next season, but if I do, I probably won't be taking it too seriously. I'll try not to take it too seriously. But for the most part, I enjoy casting, and that's what I'm here to do. So, all right, game 2, the map we gave to Fez. The next game is going to be Eis3n's pick of shoals. So water map. So I'm guessing Turks are going to be the play from Eis3n. That was his home pick. He has the Turks, cannon galleons in the middle, kinda OP. I could see Gryph0n going for either a Malian rush to try to deal with the pawns, since he was talking about it earlier, or it could be another naval civ like Koreans. I think Berbers have some decent navals too. But is there any guesses for who does what pick? My guess is going to be Turks Malians. I think Gryph0n's going to try to counter the Turk cannon galleons by doing a Malian rush that he was mentioning in the previous cast. So, itch. Any guesses? I'll wait for the first at least one guess. Hold the stream hostage. Do you want to check the Berbers real quick? Just remind myself how they are, because I never really played the Berbers myself. Cavalry and naval. So they do have Navy. Yeah, Navy moves fast. Navy speed isn't very important on these small pawns, so that might not be very useful. Probably has good dock stuff, but so I wouldn't be surprised the Berbers are saved for. Wait a sec. Am I thinking of the other map? I'm thinking of Immersion, not Shoals. Okay. Never mind. Berbers is my pick for them. Berbers versus probably saving the Turks. So probably Vietnamese or Tatars. So one of those two is what my guess would be. I think you say Berbers is good in Shoals. Yeah. I was thinking of Immersion. That's my problem. I was thinking of Immersion. Shoals is the big map where it is, actually water speed matters a bit more. With Immersion, that 10% speed bonus isn't useful at all, right? Like, unless, really minor micro and stuff. But that's kind of where I'm feeling from it. So, all right. Let's, I guess there's no guesses. So I guess we can just hop right into it. Switch over. And slug some water. All right, welcome to game number 2 between Eis3n and Gryph0n. In the blue, Eis3n has selected the Turks, so not saving them for Immersion. And their opponent is Gryph0n playing the Berbers. So as we said, Berbers probably pretty good here. The Navy speed bonus going to be very helpful here. We already see some docks come out. And the scout, the Hussar coming forward and trying to snipe a villager. No villager going too far out for the dock. Right away, nice quick walls from Gryph0n to make sure that villager can build the dock unmolested. And one villager is going to get hit, does not get taken out. So good response. And with the camel, that scout goes down pretty quickly. And doesn't manage to secure a kill over here. So scout's really not doing much. Does get a little bit of distraction. Weak villager going forward to build the docks. But that dock is up faster for Gryph0n. So he's going to get his heavy demos up much faster. And with the extra speed, there's going to be a lot of pressure going forward. Now we see a camel war is going to be underway. Heavy camels versus heavy camels. Yes. And some demos. A little pause, but in the meantime, we see 2 casts coming up. So some special units might be, or some unique units will probably be coming into play. But it's going to be camel massing and the docks being right next to each other to protect this villager from the demo. Not the worst play ever. Pretty sneaky. Hotkeys got changed? Oh, that's the worst. I hate when that happens. Luckily, you managed to recover from it pretty decently. But you're going to run camels straight past, trying to maybe snipe a villager. We'll get 1 vill kill, maybe a second, 2 vill kills. No, save them. So only 1 villager kill for a handful of camels. Pretty solid. And now the camel's going to try to secure some gold. Camels, of course, with the early docks and the speed from Gryph0n and the mass amount of demos, looks like Gryph0n is kind of establishing some dock control here. I would love to see the demos being queued up to land in the dock or something like that. But right now we're just kamikazing the docks to try to take them off the water, which is working out. Takes out 2 docks. Demo's going to come and trade. And that castle almost come down. Camel's trading. And Gryph0n taking some very favorable trades. The Camel's coming over here to try to help. And if Gryph0n could lure them towards the dock. Takes out the castle foundations. Huge blow. That is a great play from Gryph0n. And now Eis3n forced to dock up north, so very smart. Loses a bunch of docks, and Gryph0n just continuing to pump out demos. In the meantime, tries to start to expand on the right to get more gold, and starts expanding on the left. Try to secure both of those golds, and a huge boom. Takes a lot of heavy cav archer HP. And now Eis3n kind of has to turtle up a little bit, try to reestablish the naval fight back. With the sheer amount of demos, Gryph0n really going all in on winning this water just by destroying these docks, and it'll be interesting to see if he is able to hold off when the massive land army from Eis3n starts to build up. Hopefully they don't get lured away. They got lured away, and Demo lands, takes out a lot of HP on those units. And some very good micro from Gryph0n. But it is like investing very heavily into heavy demos, which do not stick around. So we do have some elite camel archers, which will do better against the camels of Eis3n. This is so many demos that Gryph0n has invested into. You can just see the military count. Eis3n has almost double the military, more than double the military, and that's all land units, whereas Gryph0n's, a lot of his military is tied up in water units. So Gryph0n kind of needs to think about trying to switch more to land now that he's established a bit of a win in the docks. There's really only one dock remaining that could be taken out very shortly. But the camel archers are going to do very good at protecting any camel pushes. So established already on the right side, as we said. So Gryph0n has map control, looking very good. Just needs to worry about some camel raids. Once he gets his castle up, maybe get some more TCs and castles in there. We're looking well. Now we've seen the switch to galleons, which will actually be a little bit more useful in the middle. We can mix in some cannon galleons. Camels will do bonus damage against ships, or at least they used to. And now the cannon galleons going with the water control is going to start ranging a lot of these buildings. Unless we can get some good demos from Eis3n, it's going to be very tough to build around the lake. Big push on this left side, though. Heavy cav archers versus camel archers probably won't do well for Eis3n. Gryph0n looks like he's starting to mass up some military and is going to do really well in this fight. Yeah, camel archers just so much better in this situation than cav archers, and they're just melting them away. And I think Berber's camel archers regen HP, if I remember correctly, right? So we look at this guy, 23, 24. They do. That's going to be even better in the long run. Does need some meat shield to deal with these camels, and that's a lot of units coming over, and a lot of camels. So the camels of Gryph0n need to fall back. This castle currently not going up. No villager. The villager was sniped. So long as Gryph0n keeps pushing some hussars here, just a meat shield, and allow the camel archers to snipe the camels, he should be feeling fine. The galleons here pressuring, and yeah. Oh, and the middle has just been completely devastated. So Eis3n has to tap out as the heavy water investment by Gryph0n wins Gryph0n the game. This dock surviving at 148 HP. Nothing coming out of it. But yeah, that is why water is so incredibly important. You can't, the insane demo spam, even though it kind of made Gryph0n vulnerable to maybe a raid or two, because there's no land units. The fact that Eis3n was forced to sit at home with the army and not use it for anything, especially out of fear of getting demoed, just meant that the military advantage at the start we can look at just really did not equate to much. So you can see, yeah, Eis3n had this military lead, and additionally, like, if we were to actually like look at some of this, like what, 7 minutes in, about 7 minutes. Yeah, so this is where some really good military comparison is, right? So we have 19 galleons, or 19 galleons in the queue, I guess. 4 demos. So 5 of the military is water-based, and it's just been non-stop spending on water, whereas Eis3n has all these heavy cav archers, all these heavy camels. So, like, he could maybe push with this, but pushing on shoals without any water control is definitely tough. Was going to send some things here, but the camel archers are so good into the Turks when they're going heavy camels and cav archers. So, unfortunately, for Eis3n, Gryph0n won that, and Turks are no longer there to deal with shoals. So I will be right back just to set up the next game. Give me 1 second. All right. We are back in time for game 3. Previous match was a Berber's victory for Gryph0n against the Turks of Eis3n. And now we're going to look at the third map, and that is going to actually be Immersion. Looks like Eis3n wants to go triple, or we'll take one of Gryph0n's maps, just get another water map out of the way, maybe try to redeem themselves on the water map and win water this time. I could see Koreans or Malians. Gryph0n was talking about the Malian rush, so I'm actually guessing the Malians. Um, and then I don't really know what water civ is left for Eis3n. Additionally, like, you could just try to do a rush with one of these civs. I don't think Britons are very rushing. Don't think Bohemians rush very well. Tatars could do a rush. So it could just be a double rush match. So I'm going to go fill up on water first. I'd love to see some guesses on what people think he'll pick for immersion. Brits have good water if they get on. I suppose, yeah, with the Galleons range, I'm sure. Something like that. Dude, actually, no. Only foot archers get the extra range, right? Or does everything get extra range? Or my cat will be very upset, and also it'll get very toasty in here. All right. Doesn't look like there's any guesses, unfortunately. And I think Gryph0n has a good guess, but might be a little bit cheating. So, I guess if there's not going to be any guesses, we can move on to the third match on immersion. I need to set up hotkeys and stuff. Do this without having to manually. I should get a little one of those Elgato decks or something, or just a key switch or something like that. So, all right. So game 3 on immersion. Let's begin in the blue. Down 0-2 is going to be the Tatars. And that'll be Eis3n. And in the orange, playing the Malians, like I predicted, is Gryph0n. Yeah, it's going to be probably a Cav rush for both players. We see the scouts going forward. Barracks and Cav for Eis3n. We'll see if any of them rush the middle pond. But it does look like a little bit of villager shenanigans are going to go on. No kills yet. And Cam's going to come out and put a stop to that. So Gryph0n gets away unscathed. And Step Lancers will be coming out for Eis3n. And so it's going to be Steps and Halberdiers probably versus Camels and Camels. So Halberdiers are going to cause some problems. We see a dock in the middle for Eis3n trying to fight that for that middle. And Villager going forward. That pond feels closer to Eis3n, so it might favor Gryph0n or Eis3n a little bit in that aspect. But the Camel's going to do some very nice damage here. Both players going to get their docks up. Eis3n gets his up a little bit first. Doesn't immediately queue something up though, so it's going to give Gryph0n time to catch up with the dock play. And now there's the Galleons. We're going to see Galleons out from Eis3n. I assume Gryph0n's just going to go for heavy demos. I don't like the play of heavy Galleons, or of Galleons right off the start, because you need to establish control with those demos, and the demos are going to trade very favorably here. You need to mass up the Galleons in order to chance. And these Camels are just going to start massing forward, and we can even see the military count for Gryph0n. Mass is already doubled, and that's going to be a huge advantage early on, though the Halberdiers can be a problem if they get them kind of clustered up, and if there's enough, and if they don't rally point forward too much. So, one eco kill was found by Gryph0n, but sorry, I don't know why we're getting weird message delays, but Tatar are so weird. Why is that? They have the tech but no armor. Oh. Yeah, so they're just going to get melted by Camels. And yeah, as we saw before, the Galleons just don't have time to mass up. You need to mass up Galleons for them to be effective, and the demo's just coming out and just nuking. Only one dock producing. But the Camel's just massing out 50-7. Yeah, and the forward castle should spell doom. Forward siege workshops as well. Step Lancers not doing anything. The Halberdiers not really being able to be massed up. Need to be massed up in order to have a chance. Halberdier might be better against Camel, but when there's 30 Camels and only one Halberdier, not going to find much damage. Now we see some Gryph0n spam, which is a good way of trying to get some raids in. And Galleon takes some multiple demos, but like it's really not doing anything too useful. And there's some more demos being made. And Gryph0n kind of taking it a little bit slow here, trying to wait for the castle to go up forward instead of making some siege. And now the Camel's going forward. Yeah, there's nothing to pressure this castle, but I mean, there's only one castle. That's going to go up. Immediate trebuchet will probably spell victory. There's the trebuchets. And yeah, the Camel spam, the early Malian rush, just doing so good here. just massively outpopped. 5 times the population. And villagers aren't going to be able to build anything. You can just throw camels away to the TCs, and here's the trebuchets. And this should be a very quick GG. And Eis3n calls GG very quick. So, very well done by Gryph0n. Wins that early fight. I think it would have been a little bit easier, or a little bit better for Eis3n if Eis3n had not gone for the galleons right away and spent a lot of resources and lost the water so quick there. Fire ships may have been better. But yeah, the Malian camel rush, really well done. Only, 11 barracks now, but needed more halberdiers out at the start and just didn't have them to deal with the camels. Why are Malians so fast? Yeah, why are Malians so fast, actually? Let's take a look. That's a good question. But Gryph0n takes game number 3. Actually, I'll be right back and double check, and let me set up this next game. All right, so game 3 went to Gryph0n with the Malian rush, beating out the Tatars of Eis3n. Game number 4 is going to be on Aftermath, Eis3n's other home map. So take a look at what we have over here. Aftermath land with the extra markets. Could see Bulgarians. Could see Wei, I assume. I don't really know. There's not another water civ needed, so Koreans could be good with the SO. Could see Britons or Bohemians, though, with the 5th map being Acre. Bohemians might actually be better here. Islands can just do double stable start with 1 vill each, since the TC is not a huge problem for the scout. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, so you don't have to worry too much about villagers getting raided. Hello, co-caster Ace. He has such a big, weird tail. The other thing I wanted to check was Malians. Was just double that. Yeah. And then Farimba also helps, right? Because it makes your camels really strong. So that's why the Malian strat works. But yeah, any other guesses, or are we just gonna go straight into it? Doesn't look like there's probably any guess. Zardes, you have a guess? If not, we'll just run right into can't guess. Yeah, Gryph0n can guess, but that's a little bit of cheating. So, all right, let's just go right into it. We're going into game number 4. So, game number 4. Gryph0n changing his color to purple, which I prefer. But Gryph0n in the pink, up 3-0, is going to be playing the Koreans versus the Bohemians of Eis3n in the blue. Eis3n hoping to win with one of the best civs. At least in my mind, one of the best civs, because they just have such strong gold units. But we'll see how this plays out with the aftermarket markets on the other sides. And Scout is probably not going to find any damage. Just try to get a couple hits here. No, immediately gets put into TC. Nothing really found for Gryph0n. In the meantime, Eis3n Scout in here is going to get met by a champion. And while it's not the easiest trade, that Scout does not find any damage. So, no early rush from either player. We see Halberdiers from the Bohemians and an early champions from the Koreans to immediately counter that. We'll see even maybe sort of switch into champions as well from Eis3n. Yeah, it looks like Eis3n's starting to make some champions to try to counter that instead of just going into the gunpowder. But the gunpowder needs to be, takes a little bit of time to get going. So little champions just to help deal with the early onslaught of champions from Gryph0n. In the meantime, we can see some siege coming up from Gryph0n as well for the SOs. And just nothing really else. Just it's going to be champion siege for Gryph0n against Halb champions for Eis3n, and then mixing in some hand cannoneers, mixing in probably some wagons once they get there. Gryph0n again trying to do an early aggression here. to get an advantage, but I don't know if it'll work out too well here. And here's some war wagons coming in, the classics. And so those will help deal with some of the ground units from Eis3n until the gunpowder starts getting into play. And that is a forward castle from Eis3n in the sense of Gryph0n's already kind of there, so we'll see if it actually even can go up. But the war wagon trying to prevent the market from being taken, at least aware that it's being taken. In the meantime, Gryph0n has secured. No, this is going to get taken by the Eis3n. I think. I don't know how this trades, but they're going to fight over that a little bit. A couple of units going over there. And in the meantime, skirmish going on in the middle. And Gryph0n, once again, trying that very forward castle. Doesn't want to establish kind of a more middle defensive one. I mean, it has this defensive one. Now we see the rocket carts coming forward, and those are going to be weighing laced to the infantry of Eis3n. But the champions are already on them. There's no meat shield here to defend, but they're going to pull back, and those rocket carts going to land a lot of shots here. And now the Hoofnies are out, so the Hoofnies can land some really nice shots. And yeah, in the meantime, 1-to-1 for the markets. And these rocket carts are going to be doing some heavy damage. If Hoofnies, that's a lot of Hoofnies, they can land some good shots. They're going to do some very heavy damage here. A lot of gunpowder. I mean, cannoneers seem kind of bad into rocket carts and the war wagons. So it might have been a little bit of a ploy to start with champions, force Eis3n into gunpowder. But I mean, when there's a Hoofnies, there's a way. Gryph0n is pushing forward, and that super forward castle was pulled back a little bit onto this hill. That's going to be a little bit more of a defensible position, but allow Gryph0n to establish some forward siege and really get this push going. Get some trebs out. I already have some trebs out, so we can start pressuring some of these productions of Eis3n. In the meantime, the expansion for the eco is starting to begin for Gryph0n. Eco already being expanded for Eis3n as well. And now here's the siege onager, or the regular onagers of Eis3n try to deal with some of the heavier siege of Gryph0n. Not going to be the greatest. Hoofnies lands. Yeah, Hoofnies. It's going to be really dependent on how much damage these Hoofnies can do, and these onagers getting some good trades here, but also costing. If they were SOs, it'd be a little bit better, but some good shots. So a little bit of a standstill, but that's going to favor Gryph0n from the attacking position as the trebs can start weighing Lace's forward castle. Gryph0n does have control of both markets, so nice steady trickle of resources. And Eis3n trying to expand a little bit on the left side. Will probably get noticed by Gryph0n and pushed, but right now the push in the middle is kind of all that matters. Gryph0n is low on military though. Granted, a lot of it is these hand cannoneers, which might not be the most effective here, especially with the massive of champions coming forward. But those Hoofnies microing very beautifully against rocket carts. And, I mean, luckily Gryph0n doesn't need to push in with the trebs. Able to take out that castle, maybe do a little bit more damage here. But taking out the castle, huge, even with the military disadvantage. And Gryph0n kind of expanding a little bit on the outside, getting some farms, getting some wood. More TCs, expanding forward. I'd love to see some castles on the markets to protect them. But in the meantime, it's all game about micro right now. I'm gonna land some volleys against them, and it's gonna be champions kind of trying to trade back and forth. And not a lot of rocket carts in the field. Only 3 rockets for Gryph0n. Gryph0n low on stone, low on gold, getting a lot of gold back, but so just a little bit of micro wars as they both switch to the mid game and focus on building an economy. Gryph0n having the really nice forward points, getting that treb, actually queued the rams. I mean, a few capped rams can never hurt. Not very useful, but like you can send them around and try to like take out some buildings here and there. But yeah, against gunpowder and champions, not the most useful thing to have. Mixing in some hussars. So we like this. A lot of hussars being mixed in. That'll be helpful for kind of dealing with champions and gunpowder and Hoofnies, especially sniping those. Gonna lose a lot of bomber cannons. Not the best engagement from Gryph0n. Send those bomber cannons up front first. That's an expensive loss for Gryph0n. And going to give Eis3n a chance to kind of crack back and take out another rock. Yeah, this is not looking great for Gryph0n. A little bit too aggressive with his placements, and a couple more castles come up. Probably some wagons, we'll see. Maybe not, but yeah, there's not a lot of military left for Gryph0n, and Gryph0n's gonna have to pull back a little bit. still isn't worried about losing the markets yet, and the economy for both players is starting to kind of build up. Gryph0n does have a really nice economy, 130 villagers, and a pretty balanced eco, all things considered. Eis3n's starting to get there at 80 eco, and just doesn't have a lot of space to expand, unfortunately. Has this nice bottom area, but there's not a lot of resources down here. There's a stone tile, some gold. Kind of needs to move into the middle of the map and try to find some more stuff. So we'll see how this goes forward. But I mean, with the Hoofnies already in play, hey, sir, you cannot be in front of my monitor. That castle's gonna, that forward position is gonna get ranged by the Hoofnies, and needs to make sure not to lose them to a couple of bombard cannons. And a moment of just saves at 1 HP Hoofnies, and loses it immediately. Maybe even lost 2 with that one shot. But losing a few Hoofnies, very, very, very problematic. Cannot afford to lose those to try to take out this castle. Castle does stay up for now. And the push from Gryph0n is going to be redoubled. And now the military count for Gryph0n is higher. So very nice recovery from Gryph0n. The massive eco definitely helping support this massive, massive pop cap with plenty in the queue. And Eis3n struggling to remass with the combination of units from Gryph0n. It's going to be tough. Now having not a lot of halberdiers to deal with these hussars. And that Treb being way too far forward. A little bit of a misclick for sure. Same with these 2 Trebs. But looks like he's not going to get punished for it as the units are too busy trying to fight the back line. Does take out 2 of the Trebs, but 1 Treb does remain, and that's not a lot of military left for Eis3n. Down to 10 military. And Gryph0n has a chance to go for the throat here. Eco's pretty well expanded for Gryph0n, really getting there, and has plenty. And if you see my mouse move around randomly sometimes, it's my cat slamming his tail into the mouse. So yeah, I mean, at this point, Eis3n's trying to mass up some eco, doesn't have the resources. I know he has resources, needs more wood, that's his problem. But now the push forward is coming. The siege rams could be sent in now. This would be the perfect time to do it. A lot of the siege being taken out. And Eis3n has really nothing to defend against this. There's nothing really pushing in, no Trebs or anything. It's just war wagons. So Gryph0n's not going to be able to do the damage he needs to, but Eis3n taps out knowing he has nothing to deal with this and won't for some time. And Gryph0n taken game number 4. Well done. The consistent pressure, really doing well here. And managed to keep the army numbers high with the massive economy behind it. Showing why having a good economy is key to everything. So well done. Even getting a monastery, started preparing for the mid to late game by getting the relics. And well done. Yeah, that forward castle managed to hold. The fact that Eis3n wasn't able to push back fast enough to take out that forward position meant that he couldn't really recover. And Gryph0n had a chance to recoup after losing that early forward push. And had a forward staging point to go off of. So very well done by Gryph0n. And Eis3n had a chance to kind of equalize, but wasn't able to take it. So let me just see what message I just got. That's a wait list. Nothing important. Excellent. It's already 3:20. Jeez. Suppose these games take a while to cast, don't they? All right, give me 1 sec to swap to the 5th game. All right, welcome back for the game 5. Game 4 finished with a Bohemian death against a Korean victory. And our final map will be... Hey, Stu, what is with you and your tail? He's very upset that I ignore him. That's not the right one. So the final map will be Akare, which has some water aspects, but is not a water map. Micro wasn't that good this set. Yeah, I can notice it. Your eco's been very solid, and you've been taking the fights you need to. But there are times where it's like, you could have definitely pushed a better advantage with some better micro. But it's not bad, necessarily. That's the key thing. You can't, yeah, as long as you avoid bad micro, you should be fine. It's when you have bad micro versus... It's better not to have bad micro than it is to not have good micro, right? All right, so Acre. Final one. I could see Britons. I could see Bulgarian. I mean, I don't know. A lot of Bulgarians was played in Acre. I've seen a lot of Bulgarians on Acre, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. I think Way, also from what I've heard, is like the new civs just aren't good for DM. Map starts with 2 castles, that's right. So it does help with the unique units. So, and Bulgarians with Crep hosts being able to pressure with that. So, I mean, Britons can start massing longbows pretty quickly. Vietnamese, Ratans, probably not very useful against either Bulgarians or Ways, because I don't think either of them are archer civs. So I would be surprised with Britons at the play here. And it's Britons, Bulgarians. So, Vietnamese has elephants, though. That is true. That is very true. Bulgarians, do Bulgarians have camels? I don't think they do, right? No, they're not a camel civ. They have stirrups, but and halberdier. So they could, and I mean with infantry, I don't think any of their bonuses, but they have full upgrades, right? Excuse you. So could see halbs against elephants then, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd see Bulgarians versus Britons. I guess Vietnamese makes sense, and Gryph0n might know. In fact, he does know, but that's gonna be my initial guess. Just because I think the unique unit of the Britons is probably a little more useful here, but elephants might just be better than longbows in general. So, yeah. All right, let's get started with our final one. Let me slug a little bit of water. Switch scenes. Alrighty, for the 5th and final game. Let's get underway. Up 4-0 in the orange, Gryph0n playing the Way, a civilization I don't know, making my life much more difficult. And in the blue, Eis3n has his Vietnamese pick. Oh, do you have to send your scout to capture the castle? Interesting. Way as hero can buff attack speed. Interesting. And yeah, both. I mean, I suppose with the castles, it kind of prevents a early scout rush. That's kind of neat. But yeah, it's gonna be elephants from the Vietnamese player, like predicted, and I guess infantry from Gryph0n, which kind of all checks out, and probably whatever the unique unit is, which is those tiger cavalry. I think those were really good against melee units. So elephants trying to push forward, gonna run into a lot of pointy spikes, and gonna be something you don't want to just throw away. So I'm a little curious as to that. Maybe just a little bit of a scout, but scout's gonna stay up here and just prevent any monks from getting clever. There's a hero as well. Where is the hero? There's the cow. So we'll keep an eye on cow. I don't like heroes, but conceptually. We've been getting a little bit pop capped, but with these halberdiers winning the fight early on with the cow's speed, I can see that being a very, very nice bonus and really winning this fight early, already doubling the military for Eis3n. So Gryph0n able to once again get an early aggression, gets those movable trebuchets, which is very neat. Only has a range of, 14 range is pretty good. I don't know if they deal as much damage or what their deal with. I mean, they don't have 17 range, but yeah, so castle's going up, and yeah, more tiger cavalry coming in, and Eis3n once again on the back foot, needs to mass up these elephants instead of sending them forward one by one. I mean, not super forward, but like having them mass up here and then going all at once means they won't get picked out as much. The Janbei riders, which are, I assume, just similar to cav archers. I don't know if there's something special about them, but Elvin's gonna try to take out this trebuchet, and right now it just looks like Gryph0n is just continuing to flood units forward and going to win on an early rush once again. Nothing really going on in the back area, so Gryph0n kind of running this uncontested and just continuing to pressure, and the elephants can't really find a way to mass up, and Eis3n is out of gold, so no more elephantos. Has 62 queued up, so that's where all the gold is. that means that, it's going to struggle. And yeah, I mean, granted, the pikes have all gone away for Gryphons. Gryphon needs to make some more halberdiers, but these John Bay riders are going to be doing some pretty solid damage. And Elf is starting to mass up a little bit, so there's a little bit of hope for Eis3n here, especially with the bonus to Archer armor, I believe they get. The pike's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, but yeah, it's just a massive army from Gryphon against a smaller army of Eis3n, even if the elephants are pretty solid. Though the bomber cannons are going to be able to do some good damage here to snipe some units and maybe land some shots on need some big shots on these cav archers. And that's going to be some very important shots. And like Gryph0n was saying, his micro wasn't the greatest. And losing some units to massive bombard cannon shots could really be a way for Eis3n to get back into this game. It does have the eco lead, but it doesn't matter too much. And Gryph0n now is out of gold too. So both players needing to build their economy to try to continue this push. And the elephant mass has reached a kind of a critical mass compared to Gryphon's army, I think. Not a lot of halberdiers here to really deal with those elephants. Those cav archers are going to have to push back and forth, and that castle does get denied. So Gryph0n with his forward castle really struggling a little bit there. But he's going to go back and onto his own side and try to build a castle there. And this is going to give Eis3n some breathing room now that the pressure has kind of been finished. So the elephants can mass up and needs to not be thrown forward just to die to the cav archers and halberdiers. But yeah, a little bit of bad micro there from Eis3n, and it's going to have to pull back and lose an elephant or two. Meantime, the economy is going to start exploding here. A lot of wood in the back line, a lot of TCs. And yeah, we'll see kind of where the plan is, who goes to the relics first. Scout is there protecting all the relics. But the economy is going to be important, and Eis3n really kind of rushing ahead with the economy, which is different from most games. Gryph0n usually has the advantage for eco in the past few games. And Gryph0n saying he forgot the scorpions. Yeah, I suppose scorpions would be helpful. Like, splash damage is kind of how you deal with elephants. I assume scorpions are kind of needed here. So, landing some shots with trebuchets, a little bit of micro here will go a long way. But those elephants are going to try to engage, and trebuchets are going to land some shots. And I don't know if Eis3n's just being non-committal or being baited or something, but just running forward and then losing some elephant HP. But he's able to pull him back into the Rattan archers. And those halberdiers are going to get a little bit chewed up, and there's not really anything here good to deal with those Rattan archers anytime soon. I mean, the trebuchets are going to be able to land a few shots here, but this is going to get cleaned up by Eis3n, I think. He's going to win this fight. But there's a lot of halberdiers, and they split the forces and clean up one side, so maybe the John Bay riders do a bonus damage against elephants or something, but that is a very good engagement from Gryph0n. Way better than I expected. And all those elephants have been cleaned up. So we actually see docks in the south and in the north just kind of control the space. I don't know how I feel about them, if they're going to be used for anything. Could just build a castle down there and some expansions, but yeah. So Gryph0n kind of cleans up the massive elephant ball in the middle, but doesn't have a lot of forces to continue the push. Has a lot of trebs, but going to start streaming some more halberdiers forward. And Cow's being remade. I thought you could only make one hero per. I thought heroes can only be made once per game. I thought that was their whole point, but alright, a lot of trebuchets on the Rattan archers. Losing a lot of those are going to be bad against the halberdiers, and BBCs almost go down. One per game. Well, it's one at a time, not one total, right? And yeah, we see the Tiger Cav. Yeah, Tiger Cav going to come forward and snipe some bomber cannons, and this is a very good engagement from Gryph0n. The military massively overpowering Eis3n, and Eis3n's going to call it there. Having run out of gold from all the elephants, not having much there, and losing that elephant ball meant that his one chance kind of evaporated. So well done from Gryph0n applying consistent pressure, getting the better unit comp, and picking the better fight, and cleaning up those elephants. So well done, Gryph0n taking a nice 5-0 victory over Eis3n. GG's, well played to Gryph0n. And establishing a monastery on that north side. So, and sending cavalry up here. So he was going to get access to relics as well. I don't think he made any documents. Didn't make one demo, just try to, like, I don't know, get a cheeky blow up or something, but never a bad idea to mix in some demos here and there. But yeah, well done. The economy from Eis3n started out really strong, but then didn't really continue. Whereas I think that's the key thing with Eis3n, is that he gets this economy going really well, and then doesn't continue it past like 60 or 70 vills. Whereas Gryph0n was going past. I mean, granted, you're losing the fight in the middle, so that's kind of where your focus is. But Gryph0n continues to expand his economy, gets almost pop capped, and Eis3n struggles to deal with the pressure and the fights, and Gryph0n's just taking better fights. So well done to Gryph0n, taking a nice 5-0.